scholarships, feeding programs, transportation allowances, and emergency relief during natural disasters. Join us for a night of great music and an even greater impact.
99.9 WEFM. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
So the time here in SVG, it is 8:06, and at this time, and as promised, we will be conducting an interview with the representatives from the CED and Invest SVG. In our virtual room, in our virtual studio, we have present Miss Nadine Agad Julera. Got it right? Yeah, good for me. All right. So she is the director of Export Marketing and Promotions at Invest SVG. All right, let me try this one now. Alejandro Tesorero.
Yeah. Very good. Muy bien.
All right, and he is the Communications Officer at Invest SVG. And as well, we have Mrs. Ronette Lewis, General Manager of the CED, the Center for Enterprise Development. And we are going to be talking on the topic of emerging markets and opportunities for business development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So good morning to all. I'm Roleza, and this is my co-host, Dianna.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. Just briefly introduce yourself and let listeners know who you are, your role, your function. Well, I kind of did say your role and your functions, but just a little bit, right, from your standpoint. Right. So whoever wants to take the lead could go ahead.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Roleza, Dianna, Ronette, and good morning, WEFM listeners, everybody tuning in. My name is Alejandro. Some of you may know me from being previously at Digicel. However, I am now here at Invest SVG, ready to take on export support and, support with inward investments and all those good stuff. So I am the new communications officer, and I deal with, everything communications. I do marketing as well. Everything from social media strategy, stakeholder communication, all of these things. I'm your guy. So we recently did a nice, lovely video with Nadine on our social media. So I think that she's ready to go, ready to introduce herself.
Yeah, it did a really nice job on the artwork and everything for jazzing up that, right? They did a really good job. We got people calling us from Toronto, from America. It went over well. But the good thing about it is that Shanna is next. Alejandro and Asif. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Dianna. Hi, Roleza. Nice to be with you again. Nice to see you, Runheads. So me, I feel like everybody knows me already because if the thing is, the film is reaching so far, but I'm Nadine. I'm from the Export Marketing and Promotions Department, and it is my department's responsibility to get St. Vincent and the Grenadines closer to export readiness. And food security is a great big part of that for St. Vincent, but to get our products closer to export readiness, to increase our GDP, and also to help our raw and value-added products to get into external markets. So that is like the basic, really condensed version of what we do here.
Okay.
So I guess last but not least, so Ronette Lewis, and so good morning to everyone. I am the general manager here at the Center for Enterprise Development, pretty much along the line of business support that is geared towards MSMEs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That support goes in many different directions. We have a number of facets or components of our service offering, including business plan, development, advice and counseling, training, anything that is geared towards the development of our MSMEs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. CED provides that support.
Okay. All right, so to jump directly into the topic, what do you see as some of the emerging markets for new businesses or for those who may want to revive or spruce up their business? What are some of the emerging markets that you see here for us in SVG?
I'm sorry if anybody like had something on the tip of their tongue. If you want to go first, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. No,
Well, from our perspective at Invest SVG, we're seeing a lot of projects and a lot of opportunities coming through in agri-tech technologies. Like, I mean, things that have been around before but are relatively new to us here: hydroponics, drip irrigation, and greenhouses. A lot of confined, controlled environments for our agricultural produce and products, and then from those folks who want to go into value addition, taking the excess tomatoes on the market and creating our own tomato paste, our own tomato ketchup, or sun-dried tomato tapenade, things like that, because there are always opportunities for new things. In the hospitality market, we have tourism remains a key economic driver, with opportunities in ecotourism, wellness retreats, capitalizing on St. Vincent's natural beauty. I mean, you all know we won an award the other day for our natural beauty, something that we should be exceptionally proud of. Areas that are not rainforest based, like our hinterland in St. Vincent, but like Tobago Keys. And to go back to rainforest and rivers and La Soufrière. La Soufrière is a big deal. It's actually a lot more famous, than most places, because, it erupted yesterday and it lost like 50 feet. But you can still access it. You can still walk up and have a fantastic picture experience up there, and so on. Yachting and marina services are also a big deal for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The cultivation of sea moss, that can go into. I bet y'all didn't know that sea moss is responsible for about 96.2% of the minerals that your body needs. It can actually give you that much, in terms of nutrients. So taking that product and distilling it and turning it into soaps, to body lotions. We have a client that we're familiar with in the Grenadines from Canaan. They use this product in those very same things, which caters not only to light manufacturing, but it caters to the health and wellness sector. So there are many, many opportunities, including products within our. I'm sorry, you're going to talk soon, you hear? Including like ethnopharmacology, which y'all might traditionally know as bush medicine. There are a lot of teas. Like where did I go? I went to Taiwan, not recently, like maybe not last. Okay, not recently. I went to Taiwan, and you go into any Taiwanese grocery store, like tons of 7-Eleven all over, and they're selling you, like, how we have the 2-liter bottle of water. They're selling you oolong tea and green tea, black tea, and it's just literally a huge bottle of tea, of 2-liter tea. I mean, our people have traditionally drank mint bush, and we have I didn't even know they had a Vicks mint. My Letitia in our department here brought me a Vicks mint the other day. I nearly dropped on it, was so strong. We have all these fantastic things. We have young lady that makes Carrera tea, rain tree.
Carrera. Yeah.
Correct.
No. Yes.
Rain tree. Kamara.
She makes local
Oh,
tea.
right. Okay.
And the packaging that she's put into, the hard work and the effort into her packaging and so on. It's really, really, really impressive. And she did that based on our rain tree plant that near her house. So people, we have the opportunity to make or to distinguish our products and to put products that are not already on the market. If somebody were to make, say, lime juice with mint, when we went to Dubai, because y'all know we went to Expo Dubai, every morning there was a vending machine that was stocked with these. They're not large bottles. They were like a 125. It's 125, or was it really, really small one for Mountaintop?
The milliliters.
Yeah, the small one for Mountaintop. Every morning there was lemonade and carrot juice, and it was infused with mint. This is an area that don't have no trees growing enough, and they have this product every single morning. So why there are opportunities. I was going to ask why people can't do it, but there are opportunities for our local people to provide fresh juices and no sugar in it. It was literally you throw the lime in there, you add some water and throw some mint in it. and they crush up the mint, and it's easily digestible. Same for the carrots. They already have natural sugar. Just crush up the mint in it, and you bottle it, and people have a natural, healthy drink to consume every morning. St. Vincent is rife with opportunities within our agricultural sector, but within the blue economy, within information and communication technology, innovation opportunity. All right, fine.
Before I say anything, I just would like to say I really love hearing Nadine speak. I feel as though whenever she speaks, I gain so much information. And being new to the team, there's so many areas being on the outside of Invest that you probably do not know we even deal with, right? And one of the main areas that I was very surprised about or very intrigued with is like just the sheer number of benefits that you can get once you register with Invest SVG. And I mean, in the different sectors, Nadine mentioned agro-processing. You can see the success stories, especially from our Everything Vinci Expo. There are persons who are there every year. You have people like Jazzy's Organics. You have people like Cassandra, who does the nice wines, the local wines from different sort of ingredients and things like that. And I think the variety of what we get at the expo just pretty much goes to show the sheer amount of opportunities that we have in these different sectors, because you can literally come up with a fresh idea and build on that, and you come to us and we help you develop it. We help you take it to the next level. We help you prepare for export readiness. And then just with the last expo, we had the plus element to it, which was we brought in persons from abroad. We brought in Guyana.
40 people from Guyana.
Yeah, we brought 40 people from Guyana, and that was able to, we were able to benchmark our own products and pretty much show them how they are matching up to international standards, which I mean is very important when you're developing a local product to take on that international stage. And I mean, as Nadine said, there are several opportunities within the tourism sector as well. Everything I've seen people doing tours, you have sightseeing with CAS, which is a local kayaking company, different things like that. So it's not just the big fancy hotels. Tourism, I think, is a sector that everybody stands to gain from pretty strongly. Everyone can definitely fit in somewhere. There's always a niche within that industry that, once you find it and you develop it, you can definitely take it to the next level.
Okay. All right, Ronette?
Well, just to add to what Nadine and Alejandro would have said, interestingly enough, when you say emerging sectors, I probably twist it a little bit and say I don't see emerging sectors, perhaps from my perspective. I see sectors that have already been established. However, what we are seeing is transition. So we're seeing transition and added value to these sectors from our perspective. So while Nadine and Alejandro pointed out agriculture, tourism, these are established as sectors or industries. But what we find happening now is that digital transformation now has been added to these sectors to enhance them. So we have small business persons who would come to see us, and they may be in agriculture. Traditionally, agriculture would have been bottling, labeling, and putting on a shelf. Now we're seeing the QR codes, we are seeing the different marketing strategies that go along with the products. We are seeing now that persons or small businesses are embracing the whole idea of globalization, digital transformation. So our push on our end at CED is we add value to what you have through knowledge, information. So what we try to say to the entrepreneur is that if you have a business already established or you're thinking about a business, what is the next step? So it's always about what is the next step. And for us, it is the embracing of the digital transformation. It has not been easy. I don't know what it has been like on Invest SVG's end. It has not been easy in every single sector because persons are very reserved when it comes to change. And we know that. So it's a challenge to get persons in the mindset that they have to start thinking beyond the shores of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Of course, Invest SVG is critical in that area in terms of dealing with export marketing. But for our perspective at CD, it's really not so much emerging, but we are seeing the transition into digital transformation being added to these industries, which we embrace 100%.
Right. So I've heard many great things thus far. Unfortunately, I haven't heard any mention of the creative and cultural sectors. Are there any plans, any opportunities for that area?
Denise, I don't know if you want to take it first.
No, you go ahead. I'll just support what you say.
Okay, so in regards to that sector, it's not, I don't think that there is any one sector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that does not have a spotlight on it. I think all the sectors, all the industries have a very important role to play in our economic development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. For us at CD, we have a number of clients who are in that sector right now. What we have happening sometimes is, and it depends on what it is exactly that they're doing within this industry. The craft makers, those persons. Now, years ago, you used to see people making craft, and I have to say the leaps and bounds by which we see the quality of the products. I don't know if Nadine could, and Alejandro would agree with me, but we are seeing that industry take raw materials that we used to see before, because we all know what wicker baskets used to look like when we were children. Some of you on this panel look very young, so I was in, maybe Nadine and I probably would know. Right? But, we knew what wicker basket used to be as little girls. Wicker basket now don't look like wicker baskets when we were little girls, right? So again, the industry is growing, it is developing. So again, if there are no specific plans per se for one industry, I think we're looking at it on a holistic view, because again, the economic development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the focal point, and every single industry has a part to play and a role to play in our development.
Yeah, and just to add to what Ronette is saying as well about the creative industries, because Dianna, I know that you're a creative yourself, you're involved in a lot of performing arts. I'm also creative, more so on the digital side, so I would do digital art and media and things like that. However, just would like to pretty much say that I can also definitely see the development, and I feel as though there's a sort of shift in terms of what's going on right now, because in terms of creatives, we are definitely taking everything to the next level. And a testament to that, I just remember this example. I don't know if you recall the other day when I think it was Princess Kate, the Duchess, she had a bag that was made. Megan
Crocus bag.
The crocus bag.
Crocus bag.
There was a whole.
You know how much for that
highlight
bag
on
in
that.
England? That bag cost like £500 in it. They sell them like for $25.
There you go. There you go.
And that is just, a testament of how far we can reach, because sometimes we're in St. Vincent and, you might feel as though, oh, maybe the reach that I can get is limited because of where you're from. But I think that, that is an example of how far we definitely can reach. And it's a prime example of our determination as a community, as a creative community. And, in terms of the other sectors, I feel as though that is definitely transferable, because look at the spotlight that we're getting now in other sectors, such as tourism, especially. We got the award for the best nature destination. Sandoz, St. Vincent recently got the same award that Nadine was speaking about. So, it just takes that oomph to get there, but I feel as though we are getting there.
Okay. All right. So,
Alejandro, sorry, Roleza, just to support because Dianna,
I like to pronounce my name in Spanish for you, but anyhow.
Dianna is saying that she would like to hear a little bit more about what happens surrounding the creative industry. One of the things that we do at Invest SVG, which I'm sure a lot of people do already know, but some may not, is Everything Vinci Expo, which we hope to do this year in October as usual. And we had commitments from not just Guyana last year, but 6 more territories were going to come because St. Vincent is getting fame for the quality of the expo that we put on, one, and also for the multiplicity of people who come to see the expo. And it's not a good thing necessarily, but it is a good thing. Like if we put on a show at Invest SVG, if it's a night market, if it's an expo, book it and sure, I gotta leave home earlier because traffic gonna ram out. We have our people, I think, are demonstrating a willingness to bring and show to light what they've been doing in their homes. And yes, everything Vinci has a kind of a nosy aspect to it, because the primary objective why we host everything Vinci is to see what you're doing in your house. So when you come out and you take a table and you take a booth, it lets us know where your mind is at, because from year to year we see a difference in numbers. So we know that the momentum is picking up. There's considerable growth in the amount of people involved in the creative, involved in light manufacturing. There's an uptake in the services. The way I met Alejandro was when he took 2 booths for Digicel. Usually it would have been 1. So every year there's an increase. Well, we hope to see increase, and the trend has been leaning towards increasing the numbers in everything Vinci every year. With specific regard to the creative again, we've all noticed that there's a growing global appetite for Caribbean products. And by products, I mean our music, our carnival. UE now offers a course that you can graduate in with a bachelor's degree in how to design carnival costumes. It's an actual course, and they wouldn't do that unless they recognize that it's a monetizable industry. It's an industry in and of itself. When you see a mass band coming down in Trinidad that 3,000 strong, you can't debate that. Brazil would have shut down its carnival subsector already if it didn't make money. So there are areas for us in many subsectors of the creative service, be it in the craft sector, and artisanal products or jewelry or leather works. Sandals, we were very instrumental in getting quite a few of our products into their boutiques. And I'm very pleased to say that we list new products to suggest to them as well to put on their shelves. So from an export perspective, in terms of export development, I'm very pleased to see that our people, our Vincentian people, are becoming more market ready on their own. A little guidance from both CED and from Investors Vigil, because we're sister agencies, we cannot live without each other. We need one another, because you can't get a bank loan without a proper business plan, which is where Renette comes in. And then you can't get your products onto the supermarket unless your labeling is correct, unless you've actually taken the time to put in all the factors that leads to your product getting on the shelves. People, initially what we used to find is that one, people didn't factor in the cost of their own labor into the cost of the product. They didn't factor in how much electricity they used at the house in manufacturing the product. You cannot leave these out. It's part of the cost of the good. So we find a lot of people are more interested in coming to learn how to do these things. Every year, everything Vinci, well, not every year, because we tried, last year we didn't do one for obvious reasons, but we try to hold preparedness for trade shows. And one of the courses, I think Renette and them have actually helped us teach that course to prepare our people for everything Vinci. Look people in the eye when you're selling your product, because some people come around and they look ordinary, but it's a distributor you're talking to, or it could be a regional buyer talking to, which might very well be the case next for this expo. Look people in the eye. If you're a fashion designer, wear your garments, wear your clothes, wear your jewelry. Let people see what you're doing and you're proud of it. Have your 5-minute spiel ready, like that lickety split. You can bring it up as soon as somebody comes, and you can speak to your product knowledgeably. We really try very hard from both Renette's CED and from Invest SVG. We try very, very hard. Are we friendly and everything else? So come up and see us.
Before you go, just one final question. From your observations and from working with persons within the creative and cultural sector, what percentage would you say is export ready?
No, I wouldn't be able to tell you that figure, because It varies from year to year. The figure varies.
Okay.
And because we didn't have a full everything Vinci last year, I think my figure would be inaccurate, and I don't want to go and give you convoluted figures.
Okay.
All right. So, question. So we know that we're no longer just working within a local market, um, maybe regional to some extent, but definitely within a global space, right? Do you think, or how strong is our export market? And what are some of the hindrances that many businesses are facing? So maybe let's start with Ronette first, because hers ideally is the first step, and then we go to invest SVG.
Yes. So, in regards to the steps towards export readiness, um, the truth is that when you're selling on a local market, the demands are different, the expectations are different. There are some things that we accept on the local market. So you go into the supermarket and you see products on the shelves, and we purchase them. The standards, of course, and the quality that is expected for an export market is different. So getting the clients to transition from thinking, okay, local, selling on massy shelves and grave shelves and so on, takes time sometimes. So Nadine and Alejandro would also, I believe, agree with me that it is a process.
Mm-hmm.
It is a process because understanding international, regional, and international standards is the first step, of course. Having a quality product is one thing, but our standards are different, of course, than international markets requirements and so on. So getting the small business or the business ready, we call it business readiness, business ready for export readiness, requires working with them over a period of time. I would say from our experience at CD that we have had a number of clients who have expressed that willingness to go through the rigors. Sometimes you get it right the first time, sometimes you don't get it right. You have to go back. You have to make sure that the product is properly tested.
Okay.
We don't do that to some extent here in St. Vincent. So it has to be sent to Trinidad. We have to wait for the required testing in terms of the nutritional content and things like that to be done. The Bureau of Standards, we work very closely with the Bureau of Standards as well as Invest SVG, I'm sure, work very closely with the Bureau of Standards, but there are some limitations in what can be done here in St. Vincent. So again, it's a process that takes time. If the MSME, the business is willing to go through the rigors in terms of training, understanding what the markets require, what markets are you going into, and what standards are required, then we find what happens is that there is a transition that takes place that is not 1, 2, 3. So to break it down or to be more specific, it does not happen overnight. It does not happen overnight. It takes sometimes months, even years sometimes to get into a market properly, a proper established market. So while there may be a desire by some local businesses to go into a regional international market, it is not as easy as. It's not impossible, but it is not as easy as. It requires a great deal of resources and time, education. You have to educate yourselves. It requires some training and development within. So the resources are not only financial resources, it requires sometimes capacity in terms of can you meet the demand in terms of quantity. So logistics also play into it. So it's really something that takes a lot of planning to be done. It requires a lot of planning. So when we deal with clients who say, oh, I want to export into a different market, it has to be understood that it is a process that takes place. And we're very pleased and proud. We have had in St. Vincent a number of small businesses who have actually gone into regional markets and international markets. So the diaspora would be, is rich with a number of Vinci products in on the shelves. You go to New York, you go to the UK, you go to Canada, and you see our little label, the Vincentian flag on some products. And so we're extremely proud. But it is a process. It is a process.
Okay. And Nadine and Alejandro?
Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to add one quick thing to what Ranit is saying. So aside from the quality control and the standards point of view, and keeping up with the demands. Another very important aspect of it would be the marketing. Nadine could get into a bit more of a specific and granular level, but overall, when you have a product, the marketing strategy that you have for one country may not necessarily work for another country. So the way that we market, for example, Sunset Rum in St. Vincent and the Grenadines may not be the same that we would market it in, let's say, the United States or the UK, or even within our own Caribbean countries, because our culture among the islands can be so different from the way that we speak, the way that the music we listen to, our cultures, our practices, everything like that. So it takes a level as well of localization, a level of, just research into the market that you're going to go into. What would work here, what would not work here, and that would be a way of also adding to the strategy that you would take when entering a new market with a new product as well.
To support both of my colleagues to the left and to the right. One of the things I think that's very necessary for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially for our agro-processors, to flourish in getting into external markets. There are standards that are required to go into foreign markets, to go into the United States, to go into England, to go into Canada, to go into Europe. There are two primary. There's ISSO, which has a multiplicity of subcategories, and there's HACCP compliance. Those are the two primary ones. And unfortunately, for most of our MSMEs, which would be micro and small and medium enterprises, these things are cost prohibitive. They're extremely expensive to implement, which feeds back to what Ronette was saying, that it's necessary to be financial. One of the things that we are hoping to implement going forward, I can't tell you when, because it is, once again, it is finance based. It is based on finding the correct investor, or based on finding the correct funding, is to implement a manufacturing hub that already comes with both of those two standards built in. So the people who measure your compliance for those two will come and certify the hub, and then Dianna can come with her pepper sauce and have it HACCP compliant, because the facility itself has a HACCP compliant certificate. And then Roleza can come and she can do her pepper powder, because once again it has an ISO rating already, and those two stamps will get you basically into any global market.
Okay.
So okay.
All right. Well, somebody in New York who's actually listening sent me a picture of Kamara's tea. So yes. All right. So before we head to commercials, would you advise persons who are starting businesses at this point in time to think globally from the very beginning? Would that be in terms of the way they package their items, the way they market their product, not necessarily in terms of export, but in those initial stages of setting up a business or starting a business?
I would say my caution with that would be, what do you want?
Okay.
So my caution would be, what do you want? Because, just this morning I was having a conversation, and it is not every business that is in operation desire expansion and growth. There are some businesses that really operate just to, let's use local term, mind the family, right? There are some businesses that just exist just to mind the family. So it depends on what you want. First of all, what we do at CED is, through our counseling and advice sessions, try to figure out, where are you going? What are your thoughts? What do you desire for the business? Now, of course, if the business has potential for export, we are going to encourage, we're going to nudge, we're going to push you in that direction. But some businesses don't desire that. So first of all, if you do desire, then of course, from the beginning, then your strategy should look like that. Your strategy in terms of stages of development, you get into the local market, you get into the regional, you go to international. So you'll have stages of development, but it really comes down to the business, what the entrepreneur desires, first of all, and two, the potential of the business. Not every business is export potential. Not every business. And I know sometimes we would like to think that that is the case, because if you have a business and it's successful locally, you're thinking, oh, this must be great international. Every business is not export potential or of export potential. So understanding exactly where the business is, the potential of the business, and the desire of the entrepreneur, first of all, is important. And of course, you have to look at it on a market, on a global market scale. Would it survive? You asked another question about thinking globally. I always tell entrepreneurs that globalization has created an open door access for us. The world is our backyard. Is when I was a young girl and you're waiting on a letter. My son is now applying for university, for example. And he's doing all of these applications. Everything now is online. And he says, when it's time to pay the application fee. I remember back in the days when we were thinking about going to university. Alejandro, you wouldn't know anything about that. When we're looking at universities, you have to write the letter, wait for the letter to come back from the post office.
Bank draft to send
Bank drafts, yes.
Bank drafts and all of those things and so on. So those are the days are long gone. So globalization now has digital transformation now has created that enabling environment for us to say we could capitalize on any sort of resources that are available, any opportunities now that are available for businesses to expand and grow. But again, listening to the entrepreneur is important in what they desire, what they would like for their businesses.
All right. Anything from
100% agree with Renette. It depends entirely on the enterprise. If it is just their intention to serve the domestic market and you saturate that market and you're comfortable, or if you see a way forward towards going into the regional market, and then if you want to go further than that, you branch out into the international market. But it's completely dependent on the business itself.
Okay. So another question before we go to ads. So would you advise persons to first have that conversation, let's say with CED or even someone from Invest SVG, have that conversation first before maybe trying to seek financing or overextending yourself? Would you advise that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we always say to persons, because we meet a lot of people over the years, and often sometimes people are driven by passion. You have a great idea and you really and truly don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to expand it to make it a reality. And so sometimes we have clients who come to us and their concept, their idea is great here. But when you sometimes sit down and you flesh it out, and we always try to make sure that they come to the realization, and we're not saying to them it's a bad idea. We want to sit with you, we want to work with you. And in so doing, sometimes they come to the realization, having a counseling session, well, maybe this wasn't, the way I should have approached this, or maybe I could take a spin on it. Maybe I can do this instead of that, and so on. So having the counseling advice session at CD allows the entrepreneur, especially if that's at that stage of having started their enterprises, it allows them to be able to work through and to really, see for themselves, speak to somebody speak to persons who are in the industry, to understand how the industries work, how the markets work. It allows them to work it through constructively. And at the end of it, we always come to a stage where the entrepreneur, I believe, from our experience, is more satisfied, because it's either they diversify a bit and or they change the concept, and the concept works within the market, within our local market, if that is where they're starting, within the local market. So it's always advisable. And our doors are always open. We welcome young entrepreneurs. One of the things that we're pushing for 2025 is innovation. We're looking for the young entrepreneurs to come. Of course, we want the established entrepreneurs to also come through our doors. We have a number of initiatives that we are working on this year, and we're excited to have persons come and sit with one of the persons on the technical team to see how best we can to support their development.
Okay. All right, so we're going to head to commercials at this time, and we will be back very quickly to continue our topic, our conversation this morning. All right, so don't any of you in the virtual studio go anywhere, as well as our listeners, okay?
Just for you at Quartz Optical. Get 15% off. When you bring in your prescription from any other eye care provider, we'll give you 15% off the cost of your frames and lenses. So visit us today and get 15% off. Offer valid on cash and credit purchases. Conditions apply. See in-store for details. Quartz Optical. Value you can see.
That could have been you. An accident that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Falls Avenue and in Arnisvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the king of the mountain, Cooper Tires, king of the road and track, Osto, the king of the outback, and High Fly, the king of the Asian highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy duty trucks from MRF, High Fly, and Linglong. A reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnisvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road.
Do you want to feel clean or refreshed after using the bathroom, whether at home, work, or play? Welcome to My Smart Toilet Seat. All of our products wash your private parts after using the bathroom without the use of your hands. Let's hear what our national table tennis champion, Damian Dublin, has to say.
I tried it and it works. There are 4 options. Simply add an attachment to your existing toilet seat, or choose a non-electric seat, or better, an electric seat that washes and dries you with warm water and air. Lastly, get a complete smart toilet that also flushes itself. What are you waiting for? Get your smart toilet seat today. Be smart, be refreshed, be clean, be a winner like me.
Our smart toilet seat is available throughout St. Vincent at retail outlets with the orange flags. You can call us at 457-1703 or visit our website at justwashit.vc.
First National Bank is pleased to offer Vincentians the First National Bank Reserve. Get an unsecured loan of up to $30,000 for roof repairs, water tanks, generators, or any other protective measures. No deposit required, with interest rates as low as 8%. It's the First National Bank Reserve. Visit us at Heritage Square or call 456-1501 for more information. First National Bank Reserve, preserving the livelihood of all Vincentians. Terms and conditions apply. First National Bank, here for you.
99.9 WEFM. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And we are back with our Activated Mornings program. And today we are conducting an interview with Nadine Ega Julera from Invest SVG, Alejandro Tesorero, Communications Officer at Invest SVG, and Ronette Lewis, General Manager of the Center for Enterprise Development. And we are speaking on the topic of emerging markets and opportunities for business development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All right, so before I get into another question, we have someone here asking a question on the WhatsApp.
Oh, so the person is saying that there used to be the St. Vincent Craftsman Center where they started their craft and their art skills, and they want to know if there are any plans on opening it or reopening it.
Not from an investor's future perspective. I can't confirm that. I've not heard of a definite intent to reopen it, but ambiguously, in the ether, we would ideally like to have a craft center dedicated to where you can bus people in off the cruise ships for them to come and sell. So we have concepts that we will put forward for funding going forward.
I think this is one of something that really should be addressed in earnest, right? Because I know of artisans and craftspersons who are older, right? And they are looking to be able to pass on their skills. There are persons who do leather work, that coconut carving thing that you can do to make bags, etc. Many persons who have those skills and those things that we grew up seeing, we are no longer seeing them as much, and we know that people will pay money for them. If whether regionally or internationally, persons will pay for them. So, I don't know if together maybe you can come together and try to advocate for it, but there really does need to be a central place where old and younger persons or skilled persons can be able to pass on their knowledge, because we know that they literally are dying out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would add my voice to that, because one of the things that we do at CD, of course, in terms of advocacy for these different sectors, is that we have a number of artisans, craft persons who are clients of CD, and we hear the same thing. We hear the same thing in regards to having that home, having that place, and the importance of passing on tradition. The importance of passing on tradition. We just recently lost one of our, most creative artisans. Well, he passed last year. That's Norris. And, and I was very sad to hear. I was very sad to hear of his passing, because I've known him for many years. And I think to myself, when these great people leave us, what happens going forward? So I would add my voice. CD adds its voice in terms of advocating for a home, a space, a place that the artisans could call their own, and push for the passing of tradition, the importance of passing down tradition in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay. All right. So it would be remiss of me if we leave this interview without asking about money matters, right? How can persons, ideally, what areas or places can persons who need to access funding, access grants, whether either locally or regionally, internationally, do you have ideas of where persons can try to seek some funding for their business? Because we know that somebody may have a great idea. Their business may already be flourishing, let's say, locally, and they want to take it a step further. We know that many persons, and that's why I asked the question about exports, because I know that there are many persons who do not or cannot take that extra step at this time because they do not want to be taking on more than they can manage in terms of being able to supply and meeting supply and demand, right? So in terms of seeking funding, where can persons go?
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Renee. Go ahead. A lot. So
we get asked that question a lot, and persons come to see us even at CD. They actually have money, So CD does not have money to lend and or to give, but we do have a number of initiatives that we're working with partners, very good partners in terms of offering things like grants. So there are grant opportunities. Sometimes our funding comes through training. So to address the question that you asked, Roleza, in regards to when persons may go for funding, we do at CD access or facilitate the access to finance through the development, of course, the business plan, the business proposals, and so on. We found that small business persons are more comfortable, of course, going to their banks once they have a good banking relationship with their banks. So the banks may require of them only financial statements and or proposal, maybe for an existing business. We found that the credit unions are even more, I don't want to use the term risk averse because it's a term always thrown around, but I think that the credit unions also are a bit more accessible, sometimes maybe than a corporate bank, depending on the size of your business. CD has, as I said, a number of initiatives to 2025 where we've received some funding to support the development of MSMEs. Specifically speaking, we have a Women's Empowerment Program, which we are launching or have launched in January of this year. And the intention is to support through training and development 40 males in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We never had an initiative like this before. And so along the way, partnerships with other organizations, Compete Caribbean, CAPA, USAID, we receive funding. It's through these fundings, opportunities or partnerships, we're able then to pass the resources on to maybe other entrepreneurs as well. So it's a tough one. It's always difficult. Access to finance is a difficult roadblock and or obstacle for many businesses. But I would say, of course, have that discussion. First of all, determine what it is that you need in your business. You may be surprised that you don't need a lot of money or you don't need as much as you thought you needed. So speak to somebody, an expert. You can come and speak with us here at CD. You may think that you'll need $100,000, whereas you probably only need about $25,000 to invest and roll over that investment. So it's a difficult question to answer specifically as to where to send them. But you can always come to see us at CED, and of course we can sit and see what direction may be more applicable for you based on your needs.
Also, to add to what Ronette was saying, similarly to CED, Invest SVG, although we ourselves as an institution do not do the lending or the granting of funds, a lot of institutions do channel grants through us. So a lot of grants are funneled through us as a promotions agency, such as the Caribbean Exports Development Agency. They would tend to, send down a lot of grants through us, and it's pretty much our job to promote that and disseminate the information out into that space. And in-house, we do have some very lovely people who are experts in grant writing.
And I think Ronette's team as well contains people who have been trained in grant writing.
Yes.
So we recommend very strongly coming to Invest SVG and becoming a registrant in our database, because once CED sends us a grant, once Caribbean Export Development,
we don't have any money, Nadine.
Once CEDA sends us an advertisement for a grant, once there's a call to action from any funding agency that's external to St. Vincent and they put it out in the public domain, once you're a registrant with us, it will hit you. If it's sent to us today at 8, you're gonna get it. At 9 o'clock. It's already in your email. And then we both CED and both Invest SVG have trained grant writers on staff. It's just a matter of making an appointment to see how far you can go.
And I would not good communications officer without letting you guys know to subscribe to our social media channels. When we definitely have an opportunity like that available, you can see it on Facebook, Instagram, or also on LinkedIn. We send out these things via email. We'll add it to our mailing list once you register under us. Things like that tend to go out on the radio as well. So just basically be in tune with Invest SVG as well as CED to avail yourself of these opportunities as well.
All right. And is there a cost to persons wishing to have to get help with either writing the business proposal or the grants? Is there a cost attached to this?
Yes, so there's a minimal cost that is attached. Much of what we offer in terms of services, because we are a government, a quasi institution under the government, under the Ministry of Finance, much of it is subsidized already for the entrepreneur. So what you would pay here at CD is a fraction of what you would pay if you went to a private service provider. So there is a cost that's attached to it, or to these services that are offered. But our counseling and advice sessions are free. And we do have a number of community development programs that we do, and youth focused programs that we do not charge for those services we do not charge for. So the community development programs, our youth entrepreneurship programs, those are free as well. So yes, so there's a charge, but it is a subsidized rate at CED.
Okay. And Invest SVG?
At Invest SVG, registering with us is completely free of cost. And availing yourself of the services that we offer is also free of cost. However, for the exports in business plans and so on and so forth, we would definitely redirect you over to CED.
Okay.
Welcome.
All right.
We welcome you.
All right. So my second to last one, my penultimate question. I know that in the past, for CED in particular, there used to be a calendar of training activities disseminated for the year. With regards to both organizations, do you have upcoming, well, I know Ronette spoke about the male empowerment session, but what do you have other training activities planned for the year? And if so, maybe just highlight one or two of them that might be of more importance, or where we can get the information from, or to be looking out for the information.
Right. So our training schedule, because we're so always anxious and happy and looking forward to New Year's, our training schedule is always done in the previous year. So our training schedule was done since last year. So we have indicated among our technical team, of course, we have recognized that we don't want a blanket approach to training. We do have our foundational training courses in financial management, marketing, customer service, and so on. And those will be offered, of course, throughout the year. We have periods, of course. We would disseminate the calendar in the coming weeks, but it's really pointing towards having the foundational seminars and workshops available. So those are there, the financial management and so on. But we also want to have a little spin in terms of digital and social media, having a little bit more innovative, creative trainings that we had not previously offered, that we want to offer this year, because we've recognized that we have an emergence of young entrepreneurs who are looking for something different. And so having recognized that, we are trying to tailor our training towards them as well. So yes, we do have a training schedule already developed. It will be disseminated shortly to if not in the coming week, I believe in the coming week. And we do have major plans in terms of our summer program. We have an agribusiness summer program that we're doing as well. The men's empowerment program. We have other small initiatives, small projects that we're hoping to execute as well in 2025. So we are very excited for entrepreneurship in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We welcome entrepreneurs from every sector. One of the things that we want to do this year as well is to have a meeting of the minds where entrepreneurs are concerned, because again, as business support organizations, and Nadine and Alejandro would agree with me, I'm sure, we just don't want to check boxes. We want impact. And so because we want the impact, we want to be able to say, oh, this came out of this initiative, and this, we are really looking and listening to our entrepreneurs. So going forward for 2025, we're excited and we welcome entrepreneurs to engage with us. Come and see us here at CED and see how we can help further develop your businesses.
All right. I have two questions. The first one, apart from the upcoming Everything Vinci Expo in October, what other events are there that you can tell us about at this time that business persons can be looking forward to, or to mark their calendars?
I knew this question was coming. Glad that you asked, actually.
Did you say around carnival time?
Well, so 2025 is definitely going to be an exciting year for Invest SVG. Because we have several initiatives going on, as you rightfully mentioned, the Everything Vinci Expo Plus this year. We want to make it the biggest and the best iteration of the Everything Vinci Expo that we've ever had. So we're inviting, participants from across the region as well, about seven thereabouts. We're trying to aim to get 7 different countries to come in as well. So it's going to be huge. We're looking to get a totally new venue, things of that sort, and it's just going to be a grand time. Along with the Everything Vinci Expo, we have something called the Diaspora Investment Outreach Program, which is kicking off in April, otherwise known as the Home is Where the Heart is program. So basically, the idea behind this is that we are actually going to go out into the diaspora where a lot of Vincentians living abroad are. So we're going specifically to New York, we're going to Toronto, we're going to Washington, D.C., along with the UK, because we're going to host seminars aiming persons in these diaspora communities to invest back home in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we're going to be looking at people who have already successful businesses abroad, persons who want to come back home. They have skills that they've developed in these other countries and they want to come back and further the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to these areas. We're going to be saying, hey, we're open for business. You could always come back home. You don't have to be out there in the cold all the time. You could come back to SVG, warm weather, sunny beaches, and just invest and have a grand time back home, because home is where the heart is. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Just to add to what Alejandro is saying, with regard to the diaspora, the outreach missions, it's not just Invest SVG who will be going on these outward missions. Bank of St. Vincent is going. Credit unions are going, so it's also an opportunity for the Vincentian diaspora in all these countries to come out and ask questions. What do I have to do to X, Y, and Z, to all these different private sector companies within the Invest SV, within the St. Vincent market. So if you're interested in coming home and opening up a business, if you want to open a bank account, a business account, these people will actually physically be there, and they will present to you, and they'll be available for questions afterwards.
And not only that, there are a lot of key considerations to take in mind when saying, okay, I want to invest back in my country, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because we have a lot of government incentives that are offered, such as tax breaks. We have duty-free concessions that are available, the grants that we previously spoke about for emerging businesses. And, as a prime Caribbean destination, we also have access to regional and international markets through trade agreements with CARICOM, the US, the EU. And, we're basically getting a brand new modernized port, which is going to allow us to open up to even more markets across the region, across the globe.
Enhancing our capacity. Enhancing our capacity for trade and transportation.
Correct. Yeah. And then, sorry, go ahead.
No, okay, you finish and then I would,
Yeah, so I was just basically going to add to what Nadine is saying. That's what the gist of the Diaspora Outreach Program is going to be. Before I get into our other big initiative, I know you're about to ask a question, so go ahead.
Right. Oh, Dianna, just to expand on something that you said in terms of that investment aspect, is it just about the persons within the diaspora coming back to invest, start their own business here, or what about existing businesses that they can invest in? Has that angle been thought about, or is it?
I think that's one of the things that will be discussed when the business facilitation department. The initiative falls under business facilitation. So when Shana and Alejandro go up to these missions, I think those will also be on the table, because there are always people in the private sector who are looking for an injection of capital into their businesses. So I think that is on the table as well.
Definitely.
Okay. Go ahead, Ali. Go ahead.
The final, well, I don't want to say final, because other things definitely will be popping up throughout the year. You just need to keep your eyes peeled. However, the other large-scale initiative that I would like to mention that's on the table for not just Invest SVG, but in collaboration with, the Tourism Authority and other stakeholders as well, and it's just something for SVG on a global scale, is the Japan Expo 2025. So what this is every 5 years, there is a global expo hosted in a specific country. The last one, I believe, was in Dubai, right? Yeah. So this year, they're having it in Japan, and it's a huge scale expo with hundreds of countries participating, showcasing the best of what they have to offer.
Goods and services.
Goods and services. So St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we will be having a presence. The expo lasts for 6 months. It begins in April and it closes off in October. So, we will have a presence for the entire 6 months and showcasing the best of what we have to offer in terms of goods and services, investment opportunities, different sectors, tourism especially. And, it's just going to be a good look for us here in St. Vincent.
All right. So my final question, just to go, let's imagine that somebody is listening and they've just joined. They don't know much about Invest SVG or CED, but they know that they have a business idea. Let's say they want to sell some pencils made from leaf, right? They don't have anything other than they know they have this idea to sell pencils made of or from leaves, and they don't want to go to their family or their friends. They prefer to go straight to the professionals. Not saying that their family or friends aren't professionals, but they want to go straight to the professionals. Walk us through the steps, please. I think they probably have to start at CED.
Well, it's advisable. It's advisable to start at CED. So one of the things that we would do, or the technical team would do, is that we would always, encourage a business idea to be brought forward. Some persons, I heard it saying many years ago that the richest place in the world is actually a cemetery, because so many great ideas die with people. They never really say. They never verbalized. They never did anything with it. They took it to their graves. So we encourage here, when you have a counseling and an advice session, is that let's hear it. And the counselor, the business development officer who sits with you would work through potential. So we assess potential. One of the things that we use as a tool called a diagnostic assessment tool. So the diagnostic assessment tool enables us to look at every aspect of potential, what the potential of the business is, rather. So we look at some such things as the sustainability, the growth, markets, whether or not there are markets that are available, because if you have no market, you have no business. So you would sit with the business development officer, you'll have a counseling session, you work through that. Should there be determined potential for this business, sustainability, growth, etc., markets have been established, the next thing to do is to create a business plan. Now, persons think that a business plan is only being used when you want to access finance. A business plan is not only used to access finance or a business proposal. Really and truly, what it does is that the first view you should have of a business plan is a guide. It should be your guide. It should be your roadmap. So if you have these thoughts in your head, putting it down on paper then creates that ease of understanding where I should go. Because of course, a business plan would have things such as a pricing strategy, which some persons don't really think about. So costing and pricing is important. So you think about your costing strategy, you think about the market, you think about marketing, you consider, of course, export readiness and or export strategies that you may incorporate into the business plan. So the business plan really is a guide. So having developed your business plan, if you then need to use it for financial purposes, you will then use it to access finance. You go to a financial institution or an investor, and you are able to use that business plan then. But really and truly, if you need to use the business plan internally as to guide yourself, because one of the things that we do is that we encourage our clients, when you have these plans developed, a business plan is a live document. It never should be done. Nobody should have a business plan like 5-6 years sitting there, because the world is dynamic. Markets change. So your business ought to be changing as well. So you have the business plan developed, and your business plan then also has to be changing, not a monthly thing, but it might be every 6 months you revisit, and you may change your marketing strategy, you may change your pricing strategy, depending on what is happening. So you will have your business plan developed, but it doesn't end there, because what we do at CED is that we have training and development. We have our officers who also who conduct field visits. They'll come to your place of establishment. You would be able to have advice given in terms of your operations. So your physical place of business, if you have one. If you're operating virtually, of course, that same advice can be given. So it's not just that you come in, you have a business plan done, and we shake your hand and tell you good luck. We want to support your growth. We want to support your development throughout. So when there are training opportunities available, you become a part of our training email list or listing. When we have grants available, you become a part of that as well. So you become a part of the CD family. We have members of the CD family who've been here since. We have some grandmothers, grandfathers, and they bring the children, that kind of thing. We have people who've been here for a long time. So you become a part of the CD family, and the intention really is to help you to grow and develop. Persons here at CD have been working here for a number of years, and we know a number of persons within different sectors. And we know new persons who have come into these sectors because of having had some sort of interaction with CD. Persons are starting new businesses. I was pleased to hear that there is an uptake in terms of the number of businesses registering every year. It's an increase, and that's a positive sign in St. Vincent and the Grenadines towards our own economic development. So there is an increase every single year in new businesses, and these are just the ones that are registering. These are not the ones who are not formalized, as we would say. So we know that people are starting businesses. We know that people are engaging in entrepreneurship, which is a positive thing. So you come to see us. We are here for your long-term growth and support. We are pleased, of course, to work in partnership with Invest SVG. It will be remiss of me not to mention just, briefly that Alejandro, it's a funny story. Alejandro and I had, met a few days ago for the first time in this capacity, but I've actually known Alejandro's parents, who are also entrepreneurs, by the way. So it was so good to see a different generation, because I know his parents through entrepreneurship. And here he is now, a young man, and we're working in this capacity. Very talented young man, by the way. So again, we have great partners that we work with in the development, in the support of MSME development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Another organization, please, if I may, make mention of is NDF. The National Development Foundation is an organization that is really there to also support the development of entrepreneurship in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They do lend, they have a capacity to lend. So I think that entrepreneurs, maybe, if you're considering having an alternative to the banks or the credit unions, maybe that might be an option for you. Mrs. Thompson, I know very well, is always very engaging, and they have a very good team at NDF, so it might be a possibility that entrepreneurs might want to seek further information from that institution, in light of getting some financial assistance. But basically, in a nutshell, CD is here throughout. We're not just a one-stop just to get a document and say goodbye. We are here for your development needs.
Okay. All right. So what it is, because we have to bring this interview to an end, what it is that I suppose what we can do for persons who wish to find out more information, whether it's to find out how they can develop their business further, etc., is that you may contact with both CED and Invest SVG, should you have any additional information. And of course, information is in the phone book, the information is on the internet, the information is on their social media pages, all right? So you can reach out and get that additional information that you require. At this time, Ronette, Alejandro, and Nadine, I want to thank you all very much for participating in this discussion this morning. I'm hoping that the persons who we were targeting, that this information has been useful to them, as we are all trying to get our hand involved in the economic development of SVG in one way or the other. All right, so thank you very much for being a part of the program again, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last time that we call on you.
Anytime.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us.
So much.
You're very welcome. All right, and that concludes our interview this morning on the topic of emerging markets and opportunities for business development here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are going to jump directly into today's ECCB currency exchange rates.